What is up YouTube, and welcome to this American Gods Season 3 Episode 7 breakdown, review and recap. There will be spoilers in this video, so please do be warned and drop a like down below if you enjoy the video and subscribe with notifications on if you want more from us. We open with Mr. Wednesday and Cordelia driving after Demeter ending it all, finally finding peace and closure after talking with Wednesday about their child who passed away last episode. Now, however, as Cordelia would say later in the episode, it's cloudy with a chance of falling body parts as one of the weirdest storylines does come to an end. We see Johan slinking watching the pair as a berserker, but of course Johan's storyline couldn't progress any further, not only because it might have come to a natural end, but Marilyn Manson has been dropped from the show due to allegations against him from Evan Rachel Wood and many others. Safe to say it is it for him, and it was a story which would have been interesting had it been able to progress, but the show's directors did decide to just avoid all bad PR and drop the actor. We see Johan in a haze killing people, which explains why he killed his band and had no idea what happened. However, someone has clearly been behind this all and engineered it so that he did what he did, although it is hazy at best. We see Hinzelmann as the end is in sight for her plans. Book readers, you know what I'm talking about, as she watches Shadow Moon hesitate about going to the police as he comes into the diner after to look for Derek, who was last seen breaking and entering the night before, stealing women's panties. He's hesitant about turning him in, but Hinzelmann instantly tries to move the topic on and gets the skates that Shadow Moon did order after Marguerite offered to teach him to skate. Things go down a bit different when the skates, but well, he's also thanked for taking Marguerite on a date as it's been so long. The conversation soon turns to Derek and his hijinks as he tells Hinzelmann that he's wrestling with telling Chad or speaking to Derek directly about what he saw. However, there's an important piece of information here as we learn that Hinzelmann is the leader of the youth service and programs in the town. Well, it explains that her true identity later will make a lot of sense, having these breadcrumbs laid, so to speak. I really like Hinzelmann here in this show, and I think it's a lot better than the book. The character I wasn't really interested in, and Lakeside really did feel like a lame part of the book for me. Controversial, I must say, but it's much better here in the show. Now, Hinzelmann seems to be happy that he's come to her instead of actually dealing with the police, wink wink, but we move on to Laura and Salim with Mr. World, who discuss the potential assassination of Mr. Wednesday. Mr. World cannot do it, as it will start the war that Mr. Wednesday so badly wants, but it is an interesting one, as if Laura does it, it's a personal move and is okay in the eyes of the new and old pantheons. But one thing is interesting, as I can see where they're going with Mr. World's identity and the story beats. I won't ruin that for you, but I'm a bit unsure as to why Mr. World keeps changing looks. As I noticed in the comments for my video last week, a lot of you didn't like the change of actor or actress. I admit that it's weird, but feel it's Mr. World unraveling to move towards the true story of what he really is. It's an odd one, and even though I like Crispin Glover, Danny Trejo, and the actress who was also in Pose, it is a bit jarring. Speaking of jarring, we catch up with Shadow, who instantly went to the police after wrestling with what to do. I thought character-wise it'd be more interesting if he went to Derek on the sly, as he's an ex-con and wanted to help him out, but he brought Chad with him, and we learn exactly why Derek wanted to break in and steal the panties. It's because he likes wearing them and can't buy them in a town where everyone knows everyone's business, and this revelation I really liked, as it was something I didn't really expect. He's adamant that he had nothing to do with Allison's disappearance, and he's believed, although I expect that Chad wrestling with the idea of that he needs to actually get someone pinned for Allison. Well, I do believe that it might be Derek who is the fall guy moving forward in a move that will annoy Shadow Moon. Now, Salim realised just how crazy our girl Laura is and wants to lead the negotiations for the assassination, and Laura goes on about feminism, blah blah blah, but what he actually means is that she's hot-headed and just a bit of a dick. I forgot that he was a businessman before the Jin and him got down to it and later acts like a boss in the negotiations, and they work it so that these two and Shadow get protection. They are then given directions to get the spear that will kill Mr. Wednesday from Sweeney's horde, and we will see a brand new Leprechaun next. And I'm very excited to see the actor who plays him because, of course, he was in Game of Thrones and Misfits and many other things. It's going to be a significant moment when it's used, and I hope that we see the Thunderbird and World Tree fully, because these are some big story beats. However, the future victim, Mr. Wednesday, arrives at Lakeside to see Cordelia after she spins out as Johann the Berserker has gone mad and killing Odin's followers and wants to protect Shadow for his safety. But Shadow, he naturally refuses as he's met someone and refuses to help Odin. But this is a pivotal moment for Cordelia, and I love the mirror of her being Shadow in Season 1 and the torch is being passed, so to speak, as she accepts her job and the idea that gods are real and all that comes with it. Well, Odin seems to give his blessing for Shadow to get with Marguerite as he and Cordelia move on to try and stop the Berserker Johann, or the person who is causing all these problems. I thought this was a cool moment as Odin and his son finally have some sort of an accord ahead of his future assassination, but we catch up with Mr. Ibis, who is writing the story of Bilquis in the book, and we learn that she came to America as the avatar of the Queen of Sheba before the Orisha intervened and changed her. I'll be honest, this is a bit confusing, but we see Bilquis in the search for knowledge of what has happened with Shadow, and she has a vision of a child being born and Shadow's life. It turns out the woman she sees in the episode was the midwife of Shadow Moon and brought him into the world, and Bilquis is charged with finding the other, a mysterious person who will help Shadow Moon bring the people together. And it's tough to say if it is the old gods and their followers or just the Orisha, but it's an interesting deviation from the book, and Shadow is getting a lot more backstory, which I like, and so is Bilquis. Meanwhile, Shadow is learning to skate and sees the figures under the ice. I feel like he is meant to lead the old gods with this other, as we see the figures lure him as he finds another coin that points into the clunker, hinting at something bad inside it. I won't give any spoilers off of that, but I really like this episode as I feel we are now getting the true endgame of the season, as Johann is followed by Wednesday and a renewed Cordelia, except he's gone to Tyr to go to a dentist. It turns out that Johann, as a berserker form, went to see Tyr and got messed up. It seems Tyr is behind some of these naughty goings on, as he left a note for Wednesday to say come and find him at the wolf's den with his son. I guess he hasn't forgiven him for these things that's happened years ago, as we also see Shadow get with Marguerite, except we have something going on as he's tricked by Tyr about the end game, and we may finally begin to learn what all these visions are. And I think that Shadow was chased by Tyr in his dreams, as next week trailer kind of 1, 2, 3 spoiler warning, we see the two war gods face off, and I guess there can only be one as we see the horse vision, and it's going to be very curious to see where this goes next. But overall, this was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it, and I do think that we're pushing forward with the story finally after the whole Demeter thing, blah blah blah, that went on, and many other things. The middle of the season has been very weak in my opinion, but it looks like we're going to see where this goes next. But that's it for this video, so please do drop a like, please do subscribe, and we will be having Walking Dead come tomorrow. So I'll see you soon, and goodbye.